Hey, Luncheon Learners. Today, we're going to continue our series on mistake literacy, a mindset that builds students' capacity and capability to recognize, react to, and repair their mistakes. In today's installment, we're going to focus on arguably the most important, but also the most underutilized stakeholder group, families. Specifically, we're going to learn how families can further support the growth of a mistake-literate mindset. The challenges facing education in the 21st century are not going to be solved by teachers or administrators alone. These multifaceted challenges will require a network of stakeholders to support the learning of young people. While families are not physically present during the school day, they wield an invisible influence that permeates the learning and teaching culture of a school. This stems from the fact that students just spend way more time at home than they do at school. Over a lifetime, students spend roughly 15,000 hours in school compared to the 29,000 hours they spend at home during their schooling years and 26,000 hours they spend in the care of families before they start formal schooling. So no matter how much heavy lifting is being done at school, learning must be reinforced at home. In 2010, education researcher John Hattie found that family involvement has a sizable 0.51 effect size on student achievement. Now, this effect size reflects a time when home made up about 2/3 of a child's life. Fast forward a decade, and we find ourselves in a place where over 1.5 billion school-age children around the world are spending 100% of their time at home. We can all only speculate as to what the effect size of family involvement looks like now, but I think we can all agree that family involvement has never before had a greater influence on student achievement. When I have a student, for example, who isn't turning in their work, what do I as the teacher do? Well, it's not as though I can go speak to that student by their locker during passing time. Instead, I have to call the family and lean on them to enforce my class expectations. For families of students in secondary school, they are being asked to enforce the expectations of upwards of 8 classes. In this way, home environments are being tasked with the lion's share of academic, behavioral, and social emotional support. Between their own personal and professional lives, being tasked with their child's education is an additional stressor that can potentially prove to be overwhelming for many families, and understandably so. If a parent were to conduct a simple Google search on how to support their child's learning at home, they would be inundated with thousands of articles and listicles purporting best practices. By flipping through these articles, a well-intentioned parent would quickly learn that good intentions are not good enough. Take the case of homework, for example. Families are being told that it's their responsibility to help children with homework. According to many articles, families should make sure that homework is being done and done well, but families must also be very careful to not help too much in the completion process. Helping too much is termed parental over-involvement, and it's a form of plagiarism that can actually stunt a child's growth as a learner. Oh my. Or take the case of the move to online learning in the first place. Families are being told that it's their responsibility to determine whether online learning platforms are safe for their child. In one article I came across, it stated that a parent or guardian should review the terms of service for every platform their child uses. Does that really seem like a practical or fair piece of advice to give a parent during a crisis? I think not. Just yesterday, I got off the phone with a former student's parent, and she shared with me that while she is doing her part to support her son's learning, her main concern was whether she could help her son get through this crisis without lasting trauma. As she said, if my son has no lasting scars from this time, I've done my job. And you know what? She's absolutely right. I think we have to accept that parents and families are doing their very best in the face of very challenging circumstances, and that math homework is not necessarily going to be the top priority at home right now. This means we also have to accept that home learning environments are going to be imperfect, and that's okay. But in an imperfect learning environment where students have higher levels of autonomy and are trusted and are trusted to work more independently, We should also accept that mistake making is only going to increase. What we want to figure out then is how families can help get their child back on the right track without getting overwhelmed or becoming over involved. So, with so much out there, let's keep this simple and research based. And let's talk about how encouraging autonomy can actually help to grow mistake literate learners. Ideally, families would provide children with a home environment that is safe and healthy, characterized by appropriate learning experiences, support, and a positive attitude about learning. This type of home environment can account for significant gains in learning. Me, for example, found that the degree to which families support children's autonomy rather than control it had a positive influence on student responses to mistake making. Family support of their child's autonomy has been found to also encourage children's problem solving, choice, and participation in decisions, which in turn prompts autonomous motivation, engagement, effort, and persistence, dispositional qualities that comprise the growth of a mistake literate mindset. Conversely, families seeking to exert control over their child's autonomy can inhibit the development of a secure sense of self, reduce deep processing, and result in lower achievement. Results from a sample of 93 fifth grade students showed that parental surveillance was related to a decrease in autonomous motivation. The more parents were involved in monitoring schoolwork, the more students reported being dependent on external sources for guidance. Teachers were also more likely to rate these children as being less motivated and demonstrating less persistence in their schoolwork. However, when families reacted to schoolwork by providing what is termed light touch encouragement, students were more likely to report an intrinsic motivational orientation characterized by a preference for challenging tasks, curiosity, and interest in problem solving. Simply put, family involvement has the potential to be a force of good or evil when it comes to learning. To optimize independent learning and confident error correction, family involvement should be thought of as the encouragement of children by empathizing with, connecting to, and supporting the growth of their autonomy. Now that we have talked about what families can do to reinforce the growth of mistake literate learners, my next and final video will focus on what learners can do to own their own learning. As always, if you'd like to reflect, you can capture your reflection here. And please follow the Core Collaborative across all social media platforms.